All right, I'm back. Is everyone still there? Wow.
Good. We're here.
Welcome. Welcome.
We're here.
I need to sign in still on the computer that's showing the work. Hold on, Photoshop. Wow, that was, I'm so glad that because of what happened to you, Marie, that you had just given me your phone number. So I was able to call and tell everyone to hang on. Or it wouldn't, I don't know what would have happened. You guys would have not known. Can you still hear me? Yeah. So I'm going to have to make sure that I have someone's phone number in the future, because this happened to me in the Mac class yesterday, that my computer just boop, just hung. It just dropped and I had to reconnect. But last time it connected instantly. This time it wouldn't connect. I had to go and reset my Wi-Fi, and now it's connecting. So sorry about that. Things that you don't expect, right? Here I'm saying how we've handled all of the technical issues, and then here we go. I'm setting up again on the other computer. My VM also disconnected, so I'm setting that up as I speak to you guys, because my Wi-Fi just dropped, and my son was yelling. It dropped for the whole house. I don't know why. So it wasn't a Zoom issue. It was Wi-Fi. So I'm connecting again. There we go. So let me share my screen again. And there we go. But yeah, had I not had your phone number, I don't know how long you guys would have waited. So that's a good point to make, that if somebody drops, just hang on and we'll be back. Okay. So here I am. Thanks for your...
Teacher, now I am confused. ¿En qué momento se tiene que grabar con PG, PG?
JPEG, yeah, so...
Ajá. Ese para cuando guardas las fotos en tu computadora corregidas. ¿Y en qué momento se graba con PDE, Photoshop?
Okay, so the question is, when do I save it as a Photoshop PSD, or when do I save it as a JPEG? And good question. A PSD you want whenever you are still working with a file and you are making it lighter or darker or bigger or smaller, or changing the color of something, or cropping it or straightening it. For all of that, you want a PSD. When you are done and you've finished and the photo looks great and you don't want anything to do with it anymore, you still save it as a PSD, but then you also make a JPEG. So you end up with two photos of the same thing. Does that make sense? Terminas con dos fotos. La PSD es la que hiciste los cambios, pero no querés perder esos cambios. Haces una nueva de esa foto en formato de JPEG. Y eso es lo que estamos haciendo ahora. So this is what we're doing now. Say that we finished fixing this photo, and now we are going to export the JPEG versions, one that's going to go to the web, a print version, one that goes to be printed. Okay, so you end up maybe with three photos. One that's the PSD with all your changes, because what if next time you look at this photo, you want to take some green out of it? That's why you still have the layered version, and you can still take some green out of it. And then you save external other versions as a JPEG, one to print as a 5x7, one to put in your newsletter, and one to put on your website. So you might end up have 4 versions of this photo by the time you're done. And by the time you're done, all the other versions you can also get rid of. As long as you keep your PSD, you can always output, oh, now I can output another, save another 3x4 or another 400 pixel one. So as long as you keep your high res level PSD as your master file, then all the JPEGs, you can keep creating them to whatever need you have next for this image. If you'll never need it again, then that's fine. But if you think it's a photograph that you're using in your marketing campaign, and now you need to make it small for the label of your bottle, and then you need to make it big for the window of your business. You know, there's an image that you might use in many versions. Each one of those will be a different JPEG. Does that make sense? Are we clear on the purpose of a JPEG? It comes as a JPEG from your camera. You work with it as a PSD, and then you output it as a couple of JPEGs again. So by the way, this is usually something I put on the board, you know, but it comes in as a JPEG from your camera, right? So you have a JPEG from the camera. You open it and you make a PSD, right? And here you have many layers and changes, and you do your you know, your modifications. You turn it into a raw file. You do whatever you're gonna do. This becomes what I call the master. It's not so bad. I guess I'm getting the master image with layers and with adjustment layers and masks and whatever, right? Whatever you're gonna do. And then you go, okay, I'm done. And now I want to make one 8x10 to print JPEG. I want to make a 2x4 JPEG, whatever, right? It's getting worse. Then I want to put this one on the web. So I'm going to make something that's very small, 300 by 500 pixels. Okay. Then for the web, I also want a big hero image at 1280 pixels. Okay. So you might end up with 4 JPEGs of the same image after you've worked on it. Does that make sense now, drawing it this way? In the end, you have the original, the layered version, and 4 versions that you've used for different versions of it. So you have 6 versions of that same file. And with 6 versions of that same file, if you're never again going to print a JPEG of it or a 2x4 or use these, you can get rid of these. Just don't get rid of this one, because you can keep making more. If you don't have much space in your computer and you don't need this one anymore, these can go, or you can leave them all and then just have 7 versions of it. But these are expendable versus this one's not, because this is where you did all your work. Okay, ¿se entiende, Lisbeth? ¿Alguna otra pregunta con eso?
No, creo que lo entendí. Gracias.
Okay, so now I'm explaining how to get those JPEGs. For print, you just go to, so these, for print, we went to image size. And we did it through image sizing. It's for image size. And these that are going to be for the web, we're going to go to export as, and we're going to convert them into images for the web. And for print, the image size, the important thing is that we get 300 ppi for our resolution. So 300 pixels per inch, okay?
And do you want to show your screen instead of the whiteboard?
What's that?
Your screen instead of the whiteboard.
But I'm writing on the screen right now. Can you not, on the whiteboard, are you seeing it or not?
Oh, yes, I am. Okay. It's just tiny. I see it.
Oh, I don't know if it's tiny for you, sorry. But anyway, so that's the point. When you have to do this, I'm showing you first how you do it for print, and now I'm showing you how you do it for web, okay? So yes, I am going to now save this, get out of this mode, and go to share your screen again, okay? And I can, if it has badly written as they are, I can save these whiteboards and I can hopefully write them better and put them up on in the handouts. Okay, so now we're doing the web version. So first we find out what size, and so we all did 1280 point pixels, and we dumped pixels, and it already got smaller. But now we go, well, we need to get it even smaller, okay? So this is why I like to use this 4UP version. First of all, let's go over to the 4UP version. And let's move our mouse here to see an area of the image that makes a little bit more sense. If you landed here in the sky, go ahead and move a little bit to where you see a bit more of the sky. Okay. So now here, the original, see how when I select each one, I'm going click, 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 click. Each one of these shows me something here. Leave the original and click on here on this right one. And what we're gonna do is, if I go up to this word that says GIF, which is one format, I'm gonna save this one as a JPEG. So if I save it as a JPEG, just by saving it as a JPEG, the automatic quality size that's showing up here is 60. Let's go ahead and click on here and make that slider show it at 100% quality. So we save it as a JPEG at 100% quality. If I look over down here, remember we had 51 megabytes before? By dumping a lot of pixels, we ended up with 6.25 megabytes. Now, by compressing it, it's giving me what it would look like. If I compress it as a JPEG, once I save this file as a JPEG, 100% quality means the highest quality, very little compression. Look what happened here. It's telling me that the JPEG file will go from being 625 megabytes to being 900K. Remember, 1000K is 1 megabyte. So we went from 51K to 6.5 megabytes by dumping a lot of pixels to under 1 megabyte by compressing it very little to the highest quality. It's still not what we want. We wanted it to be under 500 and ideally under 100K, but it's already way smaller, isn't it? But if I look at the quality of this image, it looks just as good. As far as I'm concerned, between that and this, both are great, don't you think? If I look at the sky, that's the JPEG. That's the original, that was a PSD, and this is the JPEG. And I think that compression is doing great. Okay, now let's see if I can compress it more because I still need to make it smaller. So I'm gonna select this one here. And I'm gonna say, okay, I also want a JPEG out of it, but I want to compress it to 60, which is the default that shows up. And when I try to compare the quality of all three, it's already gone down at 60 compression. Look at the size. Am I under 100K yet? No, but am I under 500K? Yeah. So I keep compressing it and it keeps getting smaller and smaller. And what I need to start paying attention to is the quality of the image. And we're going to compare the quality in a minute when I'm done. But just so you guys can see the difference, let's go to the last one. And let's say that we're going to compress it to a JPEG, but this time we're going to go down to, I don't know, 15 quality or something like that, very small. Low quality, small number. And this is, finally we've got our minus less than 100K. We're at 40K for the size of the file. Okay, so now we have like a progression. This is the biggest, next biggest, smaller and smallest. Does that make sense? How this 4 is working? And so now I can start looking at the quality of these images and comparing, and you can make this bigger. I mean, as big as you can to see as much as the image as you can. So this can be made bigger. And this is gonna, and oh, I got so big, by the way, that since it's a landscape, it actually shifted into this mode. It's easier to compare. If it's a landscape photo, it's better to compare in that mode. But if you get big enough, a portrait photo, which is longer, does switch to that. That just happened because of how big I made my window, okay? And now I can compare quality-wise between my biggest image and my smallest image. Take some trained eyes to see. But yes, I made it 41K, but can you tell how the quality here is getting really bad now? Can you see it all? The blocks, like if you could jump from there to here, can you see how the hillside is all blocked out? The details look great, but I'm getting some weird stuff in the colors here. This image doesn't show it so obviously. But if you could compare the first to the last, the hill, I know you can't see it on my Zoom, so you have to see it on your own. But see how I'm getting like little pixel blocks in here? By the time you get to 1915 quality, are you guys able to distinguish that on your own version?
Yes, we are.
It takes a trained eye, okay? John, you can see that? Sam,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
it's bulky on the little one.
Yeah, so the higher quality your monitor and the more trained you are at looking at qualities, image qualities, the easier it'll be able for you to tell. But right now, this image and that image, this one is much less quality. That said, the fact that some of you can tell and others can't, and let me say, I'm not implying anything but what I'm saying per se, but I'm a trained photographer. I know now that John's a filmmaker. Sam has been taking these classes forever. We're the three of us who said, yes, I can tell. And a lot of the others of you who either said nothing is because you don't say anything and you can tell, or you didn't say anything, might not have a trained eye yet. Which brings me to the fact that A, you have to consider who's your audience. And if your audience is going to be a whole bunch of untrained, you're not doing this to show how great your photography is, but you're doing this to make it be a quick advertisement saying, come to the land of the whatever, and you're going to put a lot of text over this image. Well, this is good enough. But if you're showing this as my beautiful quality photograph of something or other, then you want to go really high quality compression. Does that make sense? So I always say that I've been constrained as to which photos I could show here for an example, so it's not the very best example because this whole image per se doesn't have that sharp quality. But the point I wanted to make is that on things that are smoother, like this, you see the bad quality much easier. In the backgrounds of these mountains, you see the jumpy, pixelated stuff. But on the details of the ripples right here are just as good over there as they are over here, because all of these artifacts that the JPEG causes get hidden in the details. So if you have a very detailed photo, you can compress it much more. And you have a very smooth background, you can't compress it very much because these things show up, okay? Anyway, because of me disconnecting, I was going to show you another image where you could see that really quickly, so I can stay a few more minutes and show it with you with a better image. But right now what I want to do is, where do we go from here? So this is just to teach you how to see the differences, right? And you see that 100% is pretty much as good, and 60 quality is usually good enough for just about any photograph. It's when you go under 60 that it starts getting sketchy. Some photos need more than 60, but 60 or 70 is a good number to assume. Between 60 and 70, you can usually have, unless you have a very smooth background, you can usually consider that that's good enough. So if I put this at 70, I have a 200K image. If I put it at 60, I have a 151K image. So if that makes a difference, that looks like it's the winner right now. So now you choose the winner by selecting it, okay? So this is the winner, smallest without losing quality, which is the ideal for the web. Now you're ready to save it as a JPEG, okay? So select the one that has the 60 quality, and if you don't have one that has 60 quality, then go over here and select one and make it JPEG 60 quality. And now we're ready to save it. So now we can hit the save, and what's going to happen is it's going to save as a JPEG, okay? You want to know how to save as a JPEG. We've chosen JPEG, we've chosen how much compression, and now we say save. And over here, save, oh, did I lose my, no. And I lost everything. Here's my Google Drive file stream. I don't know why it's changed how it shows me things, but okay, quick access. Okay, so my Google Drive file stream, and in my drive, in Diana's Photoshop files, I can go in here and say resolution compressed. And this is very, very, very important to me. You need to say what you did, because you could save one at 60% compression. You can save another one at, 20% compression or 20 compression, or you can save one as, 100 compression. So I will always say how many pixels this file has and what compression. So this is my 1280 pixels, so that I know that I can use it as my hero image to cover my entire background, for example, if you're doing a website. And then I put dash, what compression? And this one was at 60 compression. So you can say, I call it 60 quality, 60Q for quality. So that tells me that this version of JPEG is good as my hero image. And it's been compressed enough that it's not tiny, but it's gonna do a good job for what I need. And then I can say save. And the good news is that I'm back to my original image where I haven't messed anything up. And I have saved a JPEG. Now we can go over here to, and I know that I'm 2 minutes over, so I'm going really quickly. So after you save that, that was the save for web that shows you the 4 versions. Now, if you understand what happens to quality based on compressions, now you can just go quickly to the export as. Export as is the new version. And the good thing about this is that you can save a few different versions at the same time. That's why this one saves you a little bit faster. But this is the same idea, but instead of giving you 4 versions, at most it gives you a 2-up, which didn't exist before. This is the new, the 2-up is the new in 2020. So this is what was missing. Before you could only see one preview. Now that they've added 2-up, there's no real need to go to the 4-up anymore. So you can say, okay, I want to format this as a JPEG. And you go to the 2-up, and here is your JPEG. Here you say that what you want is to turn it into a 1280. And then when you tab, it gives the other automatically. So we're doing exactly the same we did before to this one. No, I'm sorry, this is happening to that one. I should have selected the wrong one, but never mind. This one's staying in its natural features, and this one is going smaller. And you can, over here, you can say that you want it to be 60 for whatever quality, okay? So now I have to make both 1280. But this one is going to be maybe a JPEG at 25% quality. And I know that this one I will use only for things where it doesn't matter, right? So I compare them and I see how they look. And if I like how they both look, then I can have different versions and sizes for them for the web. And for those of you who took my web class, here I can make a 1x, a 2x, a 3x for my different media query versions. And so I can say I want one for the one to come out for the 1x. This is only the people who took my web class would know what I'm doing, but I have a 1x, a half. I can have another one at 75, so I can pump out 3 different ones at the same time of this one version. So for my 3 different media queries. So this is good for people who are up to doing this for versions of websites where we need 3 different photos for each website to show up well on a screen, on a phone, or on a tablet, or on a big desktop. But I'm just speaking to my web people here who know what I'm talking about. The rest of you know that no matter, you don't need to do this. You can have only one, it doesn't matter. And what you're getting is the same as we had before, but in this model. Because I don't know when they're going to get rid of the save for web, but this one shows you. So this is what I'm going to save. You say export, and you give it the same thing. You give it the name of what you just did. And in this case, I did a 1280. But this one had only 25 quality. There you go. And you save. So that's how you save all your files. Okay? That's how you export your JPEGs. And you always, from here, you can keep pumping out. 3 different versions, one for this, one for that, one for that. But this is still my layered version. Look at the thing. I keep coming back to my layered version. See that? If I now go to the folder, I have like the 3 JPEGs I made, the print and the 2 other versions, okay? And those are the ones that I send either to print or that I import into my newsletter or that I import into my web design or that I pump up into Facebook or whatever I'm gonna do. Does that make sense? You okay with that?
Here's mud. Okay.
What's that?
Makes
Here's mud. Yeah, so, and technically the class is over, so if you need to go, but I'm gonna, would like to show you another example where there's a better, finish work, where there's a little bit of a better idea. Oh, come now, really? Where you can see a bit the gradating a bit clearer, so I can stay a few more minutes and show you that. But other than that, if you are it's 2:03, so if you need to go, then it's been a pleasure. It's been a bumpy pleasure. This class has been a little bit bumpy, but hey, you know, live and learn. I hope to see you back in any of my classes in Photoshop. If you're back in Photoshop, I promise to extend the learning. But if not, maybe some other place, or keep enjoying and having a great home. Stay safe. So officially it's over, but I'm going to show a few more things because I feel like you didn't get enough, because not only was I already short on time, but then I disconnected for like, I don't know, was it 10 minutes or something? So let me go back into here. And here's an example of I believe is this guy got a smooth background behind him. This one. Ooh, someone turned on their second sound. I think this one has a background. No, that's white. Too smooth of a background. There's one more that I just saw that has a smooth background. Hold on. A graded background. So this is probably a better example. See how there's a smooth background that actually isn't completely flat. It does have some shading from light to dark, light to less light, okay? So this is an image that if I compress too much, I'm gonna get a messy background. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you an example. I'm gonna go to export as. And so if I go to 2up, let's see if we can, I'm gonna, wow, I don't know this one how to get it to. On this version, I don't know how to make it show me up and down. Would that be it? No. You know what I mean? I want them to be one on top of the other so that I can compare easily, but it's not going to give me that. Okay, well, let me see. Okay, so here I have my background of the one that is not compressed. And over here, I'm going to compress this one a lot. I'm going to try to go extreme. See if you can see. Okay, so see what's happening here to my background? Maybe if I get a bit bigger, you can see the difference. Here's my smooth background, and look how jaggedy this background is getting. You see that? Now, I had to go to 200%, so she's looking bad too, but just so that you could really see the difference. So for those of you who couldn't see what I was talking about, now you really see all these weird edges around her. You have to do it yourself to really see it. But when you do a really tight compression, you get a tiny file, but you also get real jaggedy bad stuff happening in your smooth colors. So she fares much better in the detailed part of her shirt than she does in the gradated background. So here again, here's the gradation, and see how it's those tones, the very smooth tones, that get really messed up. She's not as bad as the background is. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that, and it's hard to see. You need to like go to your view options and zoom in my screen if you want to see the difference. Like you can go up to where it says your viewing Diana Masaki screen view options, and you can move that up to like 200% or something, and then you'll see me a little bit better, or 100. You might see my examples better. But even in the Zoom that I'm showing, I'm going to my sample screen, and you can't, yeah, it's not showing it. You have to do it for yourself to see it, because the video quality of Zoom is not really picking it up to show you. So you have to try yourself the difference between a very, very extreme quality reduction, which is a good lesson for me to notice that these kind of things don't show. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to find a different way to demonstrate it next time we do the screenshots. But. Okay, so any other questions, you guys?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
See you in about a month.
Patience.
What's that?
I'm going to jump out, Diana. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Thank you so much, Diana.
Good vacation.
Well,
See you in the Dreamweaver class.
Thank you.
nice day.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Email me some images I'll be putting in. I'll do my grading tonight, so hopefully you captured some images of where we're at, and you can send me those by email so that I can finish up my grading, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.